Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you. To my premium subscribers, welcome back to the channel. So for today's video in particular, we're going to be talking about and discussing the Uranus entering Gemini starting July 7th, 2025. Now, we have done a video on this prior. We talked about the things that were evolving around Donald Trump and the United States in particular. But the reason why we're talking about this again, because this is going to be a very monumental turning point here in the United States, but also globally. It signifies war. It signifies destruction. But it can also signify rebirth, positivity, love. But you cannot get that unless you have something completely diminished, completely destroyed. Something new can come out from the ashes. Think of it like a phoenix fly, like a phoenix bird, right? Coming out of the ashes. You cannot get that fire, you cannot get that passion without the mere destruction. And I understand how scary it is. I understand how we're in this place of the unknown. But we've been here before, and look where we are now. We are still alive and breathing, at least in the context in which we think. And I will talk about that in another time, why, as a collective, we have already died. But we are just living in the byproduct of in our lightest form. We'll talk about that in another time in another video. But in this video, we're going to be talking about and discussing the energies and the frequencies and the explosive events that's going to be occurring this year. The next month, July and August, are going to be the most explosive months of the entire next 8 years. But keep in mind, these are going to be the key themes, the key highlights to what to look for the next 8 years. What is our next 8 years going to look like? Well, you're going to find out what happened in July, what also happened in August of this year. Is going to be the key highlight, the key categories to what is going to be the major themes for the next 8 years of our lives. Whether you are a Canadian, whether you are Australian, whether you are from New Zealand, whether you are from the United States, doesn't matter. What matters is what happens in July and August in your country, globally, in the United States. This will be the themes that we are going to undergo as a collective for the next 8 years. This video is being recorded on Friday, June 20th at 11:27 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as when I'm recording this. So if you want to help out the channel grow, you can do so by liking, commenting, subscribing, and the bell icon, engaging with the content, watching the video longer than normal, and sharing this video with others really help boost the algorithm here on YouTube. If you want to be notified when I do post and upload, because YouTube doesn't always notify you when I do post and upload, go into my comment section below or in my description and follow my Blue Sky account, and you'll be notified when I do post and upload. I also do have a Facebook group as well if you are interested in that. Now, moving on. This video is just for entertainment purposes only and for educational purposes only as well. If in any way you want to donate to the channel by any means, you could. The link is in the description below. But again, do not feel obligated. I don't like asking for money. This was suggested by you guys to always put it in my videos. Just wanted to let you know that the link is there. But in any way, do not feel obligated to donate in any capacity. Alright, so let's go ahead. Let's find out what we're going to talk about in today's video, which you already know. But we're going to delve in a little bit deeper. I do apologize on my behalf for not posting as much or being as active. I've been having a very busy couple of months, particularly this week. I overestimated how much time I really had to film, so when you find out that I actually had very little time to actually film. So I do apologize for that, but this will also be the last time that we will probably be recording in the kitchen, unless it's on my other YouTube channel. We have the studio back up and running, so I plan to be there full time moving forward. Now let's go ahead, let's go back into the reading, let's just find out what's going on in today's video, and let's move there. Okay, so let's see what's going on. What are the major themes to be focusing on? Let's do this, because this will be more universal, and it's, even though it's part of the U.S., it's not 100% part of the U.S., if you know what I mean. Like, it can also be global. So I'm going to try to look at this from the United States perspective, and also globally at the collective perspective. Alright, so Spirit Angels, tell me about what are the major themes that are going to start occurring starting July 7th, 2025, when Uranus enters Gemini. What are the major themes that we can expect over the next 8 years that's going to happen in the month of July and August of this year? Okay. Major themes over the next 8 years, starting this July and August. What are the major themes that we need to look at? What are some major themes that we need to look at? There's a lot of challenges, by the way. Okay. A lot of energy here, a lot of energy. What's the bottom of the deck? We have here older voters, older adult voters, which is Gen X, boomers, 45 to 65, 64 years old. We have here, what do you call it? We have swing state decide, Texas, red Texas, the election of 2026, so the midterms, right? That's also going to be something that's going to be a big theme that's coming up in the midterm, and it's going to be in relation to immigration, okay? So if that makes any consolation. Now let's take a look and let's find out what are the major themes, not only within the United States, but also globally. So there's a lot of things, way to do it. So the way this tarot deck works, because I particularly made this tarot deck, when something is like downside or upside down or reverse, you have to flip it over and it's the divisional meaning. But there's many ways that we're going to read this in today's video. All right, so let's go ahead, let's begin. So the first card that we get in, the first two major themes that I'm getting, is the battle. I'm hearing the first thing is battle, the first thing that I got, which is going to be a battle for women in particular. So women are going to be fighting. They're going to have to step up their game. It's going to occur in the month of July and August. Something is going on with women, and there's going to be a battle here. There was a battle that occurred, either it already occurred, and they're talking about the battle, or they're talking about women coming out and going out and voting, whether they're fighting for the rights, whatever it is, there's a battle that's occurring, and it has to do against a specific individual or a group or collection of people. But regardless of what it is, there are women's rights that's going to be the major theme for the next 8 years. Women will have to fight for something. Women will have to come and fight. Right? Here you do also have we have the Republicans win. This is in the future. Right? This is the future card. This is the Republicans winning, the conservative movement. In the past tense, this is the past. This is women. Women's rights are in the past. It's not in the future. It's not leaning that way. Therefore, what it is telling us? It's telling us that women, as a collective group of people, are actually going to start losing rights. And that is why it is saying they are going to be the key maker. In order to really project themselves into the Aquarius energy, they need to be able to lose everything. They need to lose all their rights in order to propel themselves forward. Right? Because, for example, the best way that I can describe this, based on what Spirit is saying, is that think of it this way. You get so comfortable sitting in a chair. It's easy to say to someone taking your rights away, but you have nothing to do with it because it doesn't affect you. The only way that you can progress as a society, as women can progress as a society, is the feminine energy. It could be also male as well. Anyone who has the feminine energy. Anything that is affected within this spirit influence, if anything, just say half of it's being affected, but the other half is not, they're not going to fight. The other half is like, it doesn't affect me, it doesn't hurt me directly, so why should I go out? That is what Spirit is saying. Spirit is saying people got so comfortable in the chair that they were not able to fight for themselves. And they'll be like, someone else is going to fight for me. Not realizing that you need to fight for yourself. You cannot depend on others to fight for you because they will not come out and speak. Have you not learned anything from what happened during the Holocaust? People did not speak out because it didn't affect them. And before you know it came for them because no one else spoke for you. That is what Spirit is saying. Spirit is saying essentially, in hindsight, because people are unwilling, unable, and unable to fight because it doesn't affect them directly, they're like, it doesn't hurt me. So there's no reason to. And it makes sense. I mean, think about it. Think about it, for example. If you look at the context in which a lot of video topics are designed and has been put out, you will start to know where the populace and where the collective finds interesting topics and where they don't find anything interesting. For example, back during 2022, I did a video on abortion and abortion rights and women's rights. And that video on average got like 50 views. But I did another thing on the economy. It got 200 in the same day. The difference is it's not that no one cares about abortion is that it doesn't rank as important as the economy, despite what the media was saying at the time. And lo and behold, the economy took center stage during the midterms of that year. Yes, women's rights, abortion was in the backslide. But fast forward 2 years later after that, because it wasn't important in the midterms as much, and it didn't propel the Democrats to 100% to victory, it lost its momentum in the 2024 election. It didn't propel a woman into the White House. Well, it did, but in the energy and everything going around it, because the election was so tight, it was easily able to be manipulated in favor of the other party. But in hindsight, is that the margin, the amount of population that cares about that issue is minuscule compared to the overall broader scheme. And that is what Spirit is saying. Spirit is saying, essentially, in hindsight, people don't care about certain issues unless it affects them directly. And therefore, they have to be prepared and willing to fight, or they will lose it all. And sometimes you have to lose it all in order to appreciate what you did have. Right? You know, like they always say, like, you know, you don't appreciate the thing that you have because it has been given to you. You don't understand the fight that your grandparents had to fight for it. You don't understand the fight that women had to go through in 1920. That is what it's saying here, is that people have forgotten what it took to get them here. And they became so ungrateful for what they have received that, well, in hindsight, if they lose it, they're going to have to fight for it again. And it's this battle, that continuous battle, there is no right that's ever guaranteed. It is just subjected to the individual's willingness to fight for them and to keep them. And to understand that it's not easy to maintain them. But it is, you have to be consistent on it. Because people got too complacent. The next card that comes in is religion. So the next theme that we're going to see is religion starting to rise, but religion also falls. So we're also going to see a rise of religion and also a fall of a religion. So it can be both. It's going to be a religion rises from the ashes, and one completely goes into the ashes. Right? This is in the past tense. So this is already starting to occur now. We also have here, that's why also women's rights is also in that same direction. We have here what's heading in the future. We have impeachment. So this is going to be something that's going to be in the eyes of a lot of countries. Countries are going to start removing their leaders. They're going to start questioning individuals who are in power. We do also have here swing states decide the election of 2000. So there is something here with the election being stopped or halted. Something has been changed. The results have been stopped counting, right? And this is the swing state decide. There is something here with the results, the 2000 election results, that is imitating and mirroring what had occurred 24 years later. We have the midterm, the election, the presidential election. We have here 230 to 249 electoral votes, to 200 to 217 House seats, and 53 to 47 Senate. Right? This is the blue color. This means the communication. What is being communicated is the results. What really happened. This is in the past. This is coming in the future, excuse me. This is coming in the future. This already happened, which is why swing states decide occurred in the past, not in the future. We also have here what is moving in the past. What's moving in the past is 313 to 269 electoral votes, 215 to 222 House seats, and 54 to 46 Senate. If that isn't the margin in the 2024 election, I don't know what is. But this is almost identical to the result that occurred in 2024. This is in the past. Right? This is in the past. This is telling us in the future, which means that because we had a Republican elected in 2024, we will have a Democrat elected in 2028. This could also mean maybe not. Maybe this could also mean that Harris takes over. That could be that, or somebody takes over. But there is a Democrat here in the future tense, whereas the Republicans in the past tense. We do have here as well what's coming in the future. This had not occurred yet. Is reality, understanding the time continuum, the Mandela effect, time traveling, Nikola Tesla, what's it called? Multiverse and man-made. So this is something that's coming in the future tense, which means that what are the major themes that's going to be happening over the next 8 years? It's going to be them talking about time, shifting. People are going to start saying things that don't make sense, that they experience something different than what they experienced in the past. Right? This is going to be on a broader collective, right? We also do have here as well, we do have oil spill, which means we're going to have some environmental issues, and they're also relating to oil in the Middle East. So this is going to be a motive here. right? This also means as well, when you start to look at it from up and down, we're also going to get some information in regards to the United States. I'm getting here, when I look these three cards down, we have here the Republican impeachment, Middle East. If Trump decides to go to war with Iran, or against Iran with Israel, there will be an impeachment trial against the President of the United States. Okay? You can't make this up. The next card that comes in is the swing state decide, which is in the past tense. What was supposed to happen in the past that did not happen? It was imprisonment. But it did not happen. Instead, it got its innocent. And it said here, political opponent. That was what's supposed to happen before the 2024 election. Did not happen. We have here is that what is headed in the future tense of the after the 2024 election, what was coming in the future was this election margin right here, the Democrat, this blue energy, this new revival. You have here is crack and heroin, opioid, vape pen, drug, pharmaceutical is going to be dictating the next future. Healthcare is going to be a major issue in the United States, but also globally as well. The United States, what happens in the United States is going to dictate how a lot of countries respond to their citizens when they're in need of environmental or health regulations, right? What is also going to be something that's going to be a major theme coming indicating the next 8 years in the United States is going to be an American Revolution. There is going to be a revolution of some sort. Whether that is a physical war is yet to be determined, right? But what it is determined is that revolution in the modern sense could be many things. American Revolution can indicate a rise of technology taking over lots of parts of the United States. People may feel threatened by AI and feel threatened by the robots taking their job. What are you going to do? How are you going to make money? People, we have billionaires in office there now saying that you have to work. We take your rights unless you work. But then they're replacing everybody with robots. So how can you find a job if they will hire a robot over you? The whole idea and the whole concept is leading and aching the United States into an unimaginable but surprising experience. Like the United States is going to be heading in this direction, and we're just marching towards that, if that makes any sense. I was trying to find the right word here. I don't think I landed on the right word, but you understand the context in what I'm saying. The American Revolution could be indicated as mean. People just fighting and rebelling, protesting. There could be many things. It doesn't have to be a full-out war, but it could physically be a civil war in the United States. But there is a war that is occurring. There is a revolution. Now, remember I said there's also on a collective, which means that there will be more than one country that's going to undergo this type of revolution. So definitely keep an eye out for this. I see one of the major ones that's going to undergo a major revolution. It's going to be France. France, in particular, is going to undergo a constitutional imperialistic government. There is going to be a prime minister who's going to be wielding a lot of power, and it's going to be very similar to the energy of Napoleon Bonaparte. Which is going to be kind of ironic because during the time that the United States is undergoing a civil war, France is now becoming an emperor again. Kind of type scenario. France, in particular, is going to undergo that type of revolution. I don't have confidence it's going to be a full-out war or even a battle of any sort. It might just be they elect somebody who assumed a lot of power, and they are now the emperor of France. But regardless, there is going to be a change coming. Revolution doesn't even have to be a war. It could be a massive shift in U.S. government. And this also a shift in any government, really. That's a revolution. That's a massive change or massive overhaul, if you will. And the last card here is we have the food industry, which means animal abuse, quality and length of life, GMOs and other chemicals. This is reverse, right? This is in the past tense. This is our society, our health in terms of food. Is that people will no longer be able to afford this. They can't afford to have fast food because it's become just as expensive as regular quality food. So Americans, in a way, will become healthy. I'm also seeing a lot as well that Americans are going to start deviating towards gardening and being able to be more self-reliant on themselves rather than self-reliant on those around them. I'm seeing that as self-reliance here. Also, this is, again, globally. So definitely related to global perspective as well, but there's a period of self-reliance. Now let's take a look and let's start flipping some cards over and let's start getting more information. Any card that's moving in the future tense stays. Any card that's moving in the past tense flips. So we have women's rights, they flip. Okay. We have religion, flips. We have here impeachment flips. We have here swing state decides flips. Okay, we have drugs and alcohol addiction flips, shadow government. Okay, we have the American Revolution. We have here the food industry flips, normal turnout voting. We have here electoral margin flips, American capitalism. This has to go here now. Okay. This flip this way because this is in the future tense. Okay. Now these are the other themes as well. These are also major themes as well. Okay, so what is also coming over the next 8 years, specifically that's going to be showing up in the month of July and August of this year during the Uranus entering Gemini, that's going to stay here for the next 8 years until like 2033. We have here, the first card that coming is foreign interference. Okay, foreign interference in elections, in leadership, in conservative movements. You're going to start to see this going to be global. This is not just going to be an American issue. This is not an American issue. This is a global issue. You're going to start to see foreign countries start to prop up far-right candidates in many nations. The United States is not going to be alone in this factor, and I think a lot of you guys can attest to this. The next card is, underneath this foreign interference, you have law and bill. It does not pass. There's going to be a stagnation in bills being passed in the month of July and August, but also a stagnation over the next 8 years. It's going to be a theme in many countries, here also in the United States, where a lot of things are halted. Things cannot move forward. If you thought the last 10 years was slow enough in government, this is going to be excruciating. This is going to be slower than a turtle, okay? This is going to be slower. Like, it's almost like you take a turtle and you take the United States politician, and you were to put a turtle up against a politician. The politician will never finish the finish line, but the tortoise will, because right over there they see a piece of lettuce. But the politician who sees money, they'll never get there unless there's money there. But the politician will never cross the line. They will never get to the finish, but the tortoise will. And that is essentially what it's saying, is that things are going to get slower with government. Government institutions are going to be halted, unable to move forward. There's some sort of standstill, opposition. Underneath here as well, we do have here is threatening to use law to remove each other, or being threatened to use others to remove others. What could create that again, that law or bill where things are halted, things cannot be moving forward because there's always this constant threat of removing somebody because they don't like what they have to say, or they don't like what they did, and therefore they're being petty. It's like high school. This is what it feels like. It feels like high school. Teenagers who never grew up to be adults. Also have here is the future of foreign interference. Again, conservative movement, far right candidates propping them up, right? Foreign interference. We have here as well is, underneath this, we also have time, understanding time. Again, like I said, understanding time, but time moves very slow, you know, stuff like that. That's what I'm getting, like slow process. We have here the Republican impeachment, oil and gas industry, particularly in the Middle East. They're saying that there is going to be some sort of human rights trial that's going to occur within this eight-year period during Uranus and Saturn. But at first, you're going to need to commit those atrocities, commit those crimes during this period in order for the human rights trial to commence within this Uranus entering Gemini. And it's going to last up until 2033. So you're going to start to see genocide after genocide after genocide. It's not going to end until 2033, where Human Rights Council come to a continuum or to a halt. But there is going to be energy here. I'm also seeing like 3 in particular. So there's going to be 3 countries or 3 different instances where a country starts doing mass genocide on people. But again, this is saying here as well that this is indicating that type of behavior. We do have here as well what is heading in the future: unemployment, depression, an unstable economy, corporate greed. That's not a surprise. This is in the future tense, which means we are heading into a Great Depression, not only within the United States, but also globally as well. This is also going to usher in the first Democrat into the White House again. And it's going to propel them, but it's going to be by a very narrow margin. It's going to be by a very narrow margin, but yet the Democrat is going to be propelled into the White House because of the Great Depression. the Greatest Depression. I've been talking about this on my channel for years about the Greatest Depression that's going to happen in the United States, and it's going to make the Great Depression look like nothing compared to this. We do have here as well, we have the United Nations. We have here a group of people. Remember what I said here is that there's going to be a lot of mass genocide that's going to occur along this line because they're propping up far-right candidates, and there is a threat of holding like people accountable and their slowness of movement and threatening to remove people. And then you have the Middle East, and it's essentially saying that there's going to be some sort of mass genocide where we have here a collection of people, the Human Rights Council, are being represented by the United Nations. This also could indicate as well that there could be a possibility of war that could occur within this eight-year period, right? So it does mean that there could be a possibility of a world war. I'm hearing a possible attack. So there could be, and it's going to be within this eight-year period. This is going to be the theme that's going to be occurring over the next 8 years. And you also have here, underneath this shadow government, underneath this unemployment, this depression, this global economy, and you have here ushering progressive candidates, not only within the United States, but also around the world, is we're going to have a shadow government, a new world order ushered in. There's a secret society, the Illuminati and deep state. And this is really interesting because the last time that this had happened, we actually did usher in a Democrat from a failed Republican, Herbert Hoover, and it ushered in a new world order. This seemed very much on par of a repeat, a historical repeat from what happened in the 1930s with Franklin Delano Roosevelt. We do have here as well, we do have entered into this new phase after this time period enters in. You know, we start to go into the shadow style government, and the shadow government could also indicate foreign interference as well. So the government doesn't have to be physically within a certain country, but it could be and lurking behind the scenes, a government within a government, if you will. So we do have here, we have the electoral college margin with the Democrat being elected, and we talk about American Revolution type energy, uprising and stuff like that. This is going to occur around the time of a new Democrat in particular. So it's not going to take place now, but there will possibly be an American Revolution. So if just say Trump or the Republicans stay in power until when's the term end? It was 2025 now. 2029, sometime after that point, that's when it will occur. If it comes sooner, it might, but it's going to be over a Democrat is when this starts to ensue. We do also have here as well, we do have normal turnout. So traditional turnout, that's not going to be high turnout, just like in the 2020 election. That was an anomaly. That was a once-in-a-lifetime turnout. It's not going to happen again. However, we do have people coming out, and here you do have here is the fall of capitalism eventually, and here is the American capitalism, ultra rich versus middle versus poor, customer versus minimum wage, and stuff like that. So there will be this energy here, a fight for capitalism versus any other economic formality. So that's what I'm getting here for Uranus entering Gemini and why it affects not only here in the United States but also globally. These are the themes that we're going to be expecting over the course of July and August of this year, and it's going to be a key indicator to what to expect going forward over the next 8 years until 2033. Again, towards the end of 2020, the end of the 8-year cycle, sometime within the last 4 years of that cycle. So 4 years from now, there's going to be a human rights trial, and it's going to indicate what is happening now up until that point of mass genocide. Like I said, there's going to be at least 2 or 3 human rights trials that's going to occur within this time frame when Uranus enters Gemini starting July 7th, 2025. Alright guys, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I love you. Have a great night, and I'll see you all next time. Until then, peace out. Thanks for watching.